difficulties.
It just picked up you saying difficulties, I think, and just that's it. I'm just gonna leave that in.
Awesome.
Hi, this is a reaction, and this is not gonna be a returning thing. This is a one-off to Galactus from Marvel Comics versus Unicron from Transformers because they fixed the title. Yeah.
I'm here. Hello.
By my favorite Pokemon, Don Sparse.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I do like Dunsparce a lot, and I like the Dunsparce a lot. I like them both a lot.
He's alright.
They're very silly things. They amuse me greatly, and the fact that they're pure normal type.
I love the idea of a creature that exists purely to be asinine.
Exactly. It exists to make you think that there is something more to it, only for there not to be. It's like Unknown, but done well.
Yeah, it's like Unknown, but done on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. I love them. Alright, let's just press play. I'm gonna turn this down so it doesn't overpower you in the recording. Oh yeah, the death battle.
I asked you though, is there a Dunsparce B? Oh, yo?
Oh, is this just gonna be a thing now?
I like that that's the little preview it gives him just lobbing a planet at his head.
I like it's Galactus, like, oh, Unicron just vibe checked Galactus.
Yeah.
Oh no, don't show that.
Ew, what is that Galactus from?
You don't
Armor
want
and
to.
skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Galactus. The answer is Galactus.
Music. What is the nature?
If Unicron wins, I'll be happy but surprised.
Oh, it's 3.5 beers too early for that kind of question.
That's the guy from Venture Bros. I forget his name.
Oh, it's the furry anime.
That kills the wolf, or the man that slays the
Yeah.
Is that evil or nature? Perhaps this question was on Gallon of Ta's mind.
That's a
as he
fight
hurtled
between
toward
two
the end
things.
Of infinity.
I'm pretty sure the question on his mind was, how do I turn this goddamn spaceship around?
Eons ago, the planet Ta was a paradise.
Yeah, that was
the
amusing.
Most advanced civilization the universe
I
had
did
ever
chuckle at
known.
that when I watched when I unintentionally watched the preview. Does that say a frillion years? Frillion? Is that a word now?
To die gloriously on his own terms.
Perhaps it's a measurement beyond what we mere humans can comprehend.
I think it's because these dumb fucks existed in the future of a past world.
Yeah, I suppose it's unlikely they'd really have English, let alone the same
Except they
number
do.
measurements.
They have the exact same language, just one word has a different letter in front of it. And that letter is also an English letter.
As the old multiverse died, a new one was born, and the scientist Gallon was no more. In his place,
This is gonna happen to Mr. Immortal one day, supposedly.
Ravager of galaxies, Galactus.
Supposedly.
Well, despite looking like a masochist
Height.
purple vibrator,
28'9". I doubt that. I doubt that.
Thing he wants to do. Eat friggin'
Harold of
world.
Franklin Richards.
Galactus is so unbelievably
Fucking loser.
mind-meltingly powerful that strong doesn't really begin
I like how no matter who wins this,
Just
Unicron has the moral
being
high
near
ground
him
for the
will
fact
begin
that
to
he's
warp
jobbed
his perception of
once
reality.
in
truth, he
the
isn't
entirety
really
of
a
Transformers,
physical being with
while
a soul
Galactus
anymore,
can't go
but
4 steps
composed
without
of
jobbing
energy
to someone.
itself. The power cosmic.
Basically, your all-purpose space god man.
He's become something of a measuring stick.
Yeah.
Sure, he can use
He got
it to
warped.
blast your ass to unholy
Yeah,
smithereens, but it's a lot more
They got
flexible,
wolfed.
too.
That's correct.
Described as being in touch with every other living thing at once, the power cosmic allows
I didn't
access
consent
to
to
a
that,
near
Galactus.
infinite
Can you
pool
not?
of knowledge and the ability to sense danger ahead of time.
I don't think there's
He
a lot
felt
for him
me.
to be
Oh,
afraid
no,
of. He can
no.
manipulate matter, read and control the minds of gods, and teleport entire galaxies across the universe.
The power cosmic allows him fundamental control over life itself, manipulating souls, creating new life forms from nothing, and even resurrecting the dead. And because his body is composed of energy, he can't really be hurt in the traditional physical sense. This allows him to grow or shrink his
Hey,
body
dummy.
with seemingly no
Hi,
limit
dummy.
and alter his
Hey, you
appearance.
fucking. Oh no, they gave him a
He
dumbass hat.
chooses to look like that?
His
How
physical
did
appearance
Dummy
matches
come back from
his
getting
observing,
dematted?
So a human sees a human Galactus.
Came
a
back from
scroll, a scroll
Hakai. I think
Galactus,
that's
and so
worse than a
Oh,
demat.
so it's just like how I see the world.
Both of them just erase you from space and time. It's effectively the same
Be
thing.
in the world. Awesome.
But I guess if there's precedent, then yeah, checks out.
You know, the hat actually looks better on the beer can than it does on Dummy and all.
Witnessing his approach is
It, like,
itself
fits
the
properly.
end of the world. You would only have enough time to
Well,
pray
Dummy's got a little beer
to
can on
gods
top of
before
him.
Galactus consumed your entire planet, absorbing its energy into himself then moving on to his next meal.
Man, I guess his costume is appropriate because he sounds like a total dick. Like, come on, man. You watched your whole planet die. Now you're gonna go around the universe doing the same thing?
It's not entirely
It's time for Wiz
his
to go,
fault.
actually.
Galactus' power is so immense that the only thing that can sustain him is the consumption of entire worlds. Without this constant feeding, he would
I just
perish.
noticed-
Being as big as he is, a world wouldn't do anything to sustain him.
Like how I hunt squirrels
Yeah,
because
but his
I
size
hate
is also
each and
whatever he
every
decides,
one
so-
of them.
No,
He
they're
could have just decided to
categorically
do
the
that.
exact opposite, actually. Galactus isn't
Fucking Juggernaut just mauling after getting driven into the pavement.
He would, but just as the universe is bound by the laws of physics,
I did notice on the
Galactus
side
is
they had the
bound
ultimate
by
nullifier
his
listed,
hunger.
including it
And that
wiping the
hunger is
multiverse,
put
so
him
that's a
in
bad
conflict
sign.
with some of
There he
the world's
is.
other heaviest
It's
hitters,
in.
like Odin and the Phoenix Force. Galactus' fight with the Other and the Scryer got so intense, they threatened the entire infinite multiverse just as
The
a
who and the
side
what?
effect of the battle.
The other
While
and
Galactus
Scryer.
himself can comfortably cross countless light years in
Where's the
seconds,
in-betweener?
some of
It's
these
Marvin the
are more
Martian.
abstract concepts than actual living things, many of which operate outside of
We need
linear
another
time.
V character.
Like
Where's
this
the
alien bug
in-betweener?
dude who tried to use
You can't
Galactus'
use
energy
one-shotting
to destroy
Darkseid
two
as a
whole
feat. That's not-
universes. Even
No.
after being drained by him, he still nuked 3 whole star systems before getting a snack.
Should he somehow be threatened?
You mean
by
used as a
body
bomb
and
to
still
destroy the
his
Black
power,
Winter?
Galactus crafted
He's
the device
used
to
as a
solve
bomb.
all of his problems. The ultimate nullifier.
In
There it
case
is,
that
it's the
name
thing.
not
It looks so
enough, it's a
stupid.
teeny-tiny
It looks so
weapon that
fucking
destroys
stupid.
anyone you think of.
It doesn't just destroy them, it destroys everything. The entire multiverse is eradicated, then recreated without the target. An extremely roundabout way of winning, but it works.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what the panel of them-
That seems a little-
Of, I think
seems a little convoluted.
Seventh Eternity. What happens to him? That's why he screams in pain when that one famous scan of Reed
the
using it.
nullifier was key to Galactus' first great
Oh.
defeat upon his inevitable arrival on Earth.
When that pesky Reed Richards managed to get his stretchy hands on the thing, Galactus finally
Look at
backed
his
down and
fucking
spared the
face.
planet.
I want
Which makes no practical
I want an
sense.
edit of that where it's just Reed stretching his arm up to show him a meme on his phone.
He can summon it at any time, and
I want an
he can
edit of it
escape
where he's
its
just
effects
holding
by
nothing.
hiding
He's
in a
just
pocket
stretching his
dimension.
arm back. Galactus
Didn't
is like,
even have
nah,
to
that's
save
gross.
Maybe he was just bored.
After
It's just like,
billions of
ew,
years
what
of
is
constant
this?
genocide just to survive, I'm pretty sure Galen
These
forgot what it
creatures
meant
What is this
have enough
rubber
problems.
man? I'm leaving.
was the true evil all along.
I don't want to eat
Slow
that.
death of Galen's humanity. Because what could be more terrifying than
Was
a
this
being that sees
microplastics?
everything and everyone you know and love as nothing more than his next meal. This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by BetterHelp.
Wiz, it's getting to be the holiday season again.
Okay, now
I
is the
just
part
know
I'm
Mama
interested in.
Boomstick is finally getting me the new dune buggy I've been drooling over. What's gonna
The
be
BetterHelp ad.
Yes.
A couple undiscovered elements would be
My
nice,
favorite
but
part, the
it's
ad break.
more also about giving gifts to yourself.
Maybe that
Now,
means
where's the
you
ad
I
for the Death Battle
fucking
board game?
love advertisements.
treating yourself when you have the time.
This video is
And in
sponsored by...
anticipation of a new year, sometimes that means therapy.
Therapy can be super helpful year
I should've gotten, like, the whole bit ready. That would've been so fucking funny. If I just put G Fuel logo on top of this and was like, this video is sponsored by G Fuel, and just talked over their ad.
That would be really funny. I wonder if the thing where we get a little like 4-second preview with the fight animatic is going to be a thing going forward, or if
think
that's
it
just
is.
for this one and Goku Superman.
I think it is.
I think that's a neat way to reintegrate it.
I think it's great because it means that the Rooster Teeth logo doesn't end up being on top of the character like previews, like the epitaph place thingy.
In the beginning, before
Yes.
heaven and earth, before
Yeah.
light and dark,
Before
there
chaos
was
and order.
Unicron, created by the formless
that was the
primordial
one.
being known as the One to
Yes.
explore the fledgling multiverse. Unicron instead decided to consume everything.
Dude, come on! Bad Unicron! Bad God! Bad!
I mean, judo
The
chopped him in
One
half.
decided to split Unicron into two
Yep.
beings. One of
Yeah,
order and hope
for
known as
that.
Primus, and the other of chaos and evil known as Unicron. Again.
Like all good sibling rivalries, they
Amazing,
pushed
yeah,
each
yep.
other's shit in over the fate of all existence. That is, until the goody little two-shoes Primus tricked his...
Is this little note about Child's Toy implying that every real figure of Unicron is also
It's not
a bit of
implying.
him?
It's not implying. That's objectively canon. In the Quadwall Universal Cluster, which is where we exist, every single toy of him is a real Unicron, and every single toy of the Matrix is a real The Matrix.
Not only that, it can change its
Where did
form
bootleg
into a
Unicron
giant
toy
badass
stand then?
robot Satan. He's literally the first Transformer.
What about bootleg Unicron toys?
Well, that would probably be akin to Primacron's Unicron, where it's just like based on the actual Unicron, but not one of them.
Not necessarily because of any hunger or need, but because Unicron is the physical embodiment of death and destruction. He is
That is not what that
literally
scan
programmed
says.
to destroy everything.
God's gotta do what a god's gotta do. And good luck trying to fight back. Uni's robot body comes with a tractor beam, eye lasers, fire breath, a chest cannon,
Please don't go
and
overboard with
antibody
Dark
system
Image
in
on,
case
guys. I really
anyone
don't
tries to
need.
pull a
It's not
Drax
here,
on him.
but please
Unicron
don't
can
act like it's
mentally
something actually
dominate an
important.
entire race of beings,
Yes,
erase
Angle
things
Noir.
from
Okay.
existence, warp the fabric of space and time, and even manipulate matter itself.
So even if his big robot body is damaged or destroyed, he can
You just,
repair
like,
it like
go into another
or
planet
even
and,
send
like,
his
turn that
spark
into-
out to
Oh,
find a
well,
new host.
Essentially the Transformers version of a soul, Unicron's
Yeah,
spark
that's
is
just what I said.
immensely powerful and produces its own energy source, Dark Energon.
Unicron is
Which
so
sucks.
evil that he can literally turn
It's
his
not that
bad
relevant.
dude energy into weapons of mass destruction, like unholy blades or planet-busting lasers.
Let's not talk
Dark
about
Energon will corrupt any that
While-
consumes it,
While
turning
you
it into a
Cybertronians
weapon
waged
of
your petty
Unicron
civil
himself.
war, I
It's
studied
also
the blade.
obviously the opposite of regular Energon, which is created by Primus and what fuels the Transformer race. So Unicron basically.
Yeah, I don't like the visual of them just like
life.
fucking chugging it.
He's
I love
deaf
that.
As a big robot, can he even be killed?
Not by any conventional means. Even the destruction of his spark isn't guaranteed to end him. He will
That didn't
continue
destroy his
to
spark.
exist
That was
as
his
a
body
necessary
exploding.
force that drives the cosmos. Anytime he's destroyed, he will appear again in a new
That's his
universe.
spark.
In fact, almost every Unicron
Not
you've
appearing
seen
in a new
movies
universe. That was
and
appearing in the same
comics
universe it
are
already
the
was in, but, you know.
same Unicron.
Unicron is a literal force of nature. You can't reason with a hurricane
Uh,
that hates you.
Netflix
All you
trilogy.
can do is see it and get the hell out of the way. But this hurricane is never gonna stop until you and everyone you know is DED dead.
So yeah, we were talking
His
about
mere
Vordon.
presence drove an entire planet insane.
I was trying to be poetic before, but this is what
Yeah.
evil is. Incomprehensible, undeniable, inescapable. You can't even wait him out. He is unbound by the concept of linear time.
The Chaos Bringer is so powerful. his mere
Awesome.
presence
Eldritch
lets
Horror,
space
my
time
favorite.
continue
Basically, he
and
eats
can erase
the
galaxies
time of
from
a universe
existence
both
just by
forward
scrolling
and
by.
backwards
To
at the
be
same
clear,
time.
it isn't the
Like,
force he's
simultaneously.
generating by moving that
That
destroys
sounds like a
him.
weeping
It's
angel.
his existence.
No,
His mere
a
being
weeping
is so
angel like does. I'm pretty sure they
overwhelmingly
like
evil that
send
the
you
fabric
back
of
in
space-time
time to
cannot
eat your
fathom
time. They
Unicron's
eat the time you had.
presence.
Holy
With this guy,
no wonder he
like,
was able to devour
he eats-
nearly a
he is
quarter of the
independent of
entire
time. He basically, like,
multiverse. One universe at
imagine
a
instead of
time.
eating a
Estimates for the
slice of
size of the
pizza, like
Transformers
front to back,
multiverse
you just
vary from over
alternated
15
or
quadrillion
ate at the same
universes
time
to an
somehow,
infinite
both
number of
sides.
universes,
Like you just folded the
branching
pizza.
timelines, and planes of existence. And who better to portray
Oh,
a
okay.
being who brings death to the universe than the man who gave birth to modern cinema? A final role fitting for an artist so much
Orson
larger than
Welles.
life.
Yes.
Or deeply ironic that it's a feature-length toy commercial.
The Transformers movie has always been celebrated for its excellence. I say,
No, it's not
Despite
always
their
been celebrated. It
unbelievable
kind of got a
power,
resurgence
the Chaos
as
Bringer's
of relatively
almighty rampage
recently.
through reality has been halted a number of times, usually due to the matrix of leadership.
I'm glad we got to see the Armada video game. That makes me happy.
This
This is the one major boss Unicron's been
are
in the
you
game.
telling me that Robo Satan was defeated by
What
the
was he
power
fucking
of
doing?
Prince
Pulling his leg
Emperor
off?
Beer? I'm gonna need
Nah,
some
it's
of that
not. It
shit
was
going
trying. It was
straight
like on
into
the verge of
me.
exploding, and he
As
tried
the
to stop it,
abstract
and then it
idea of
exploded.
evil actualized, any notion of
Oh,
goodness is
ouch.
directly antithetical to his being.
As incomprehensible to Unicron as he is to us.
But despite the best efforts of heroic Transformers
Created
like
Galvatron to be his
Optimus
herald.
Prime,
That's far from the
Unicron has
most
always
impressive
returned
herald
from
he's
the
got. He's got like
smolder ashes of
Ramjet and
defeat
Sideways.
and risen to threaten reality again.
It's his very nature.
Such as the time a united armada of Autobots, Decepticons,
That's
and
the name of the
entire
show.
people created from his cells, the Minicons, tried to destroy him once and for all.
They actually succeeded in killing him until Galvatron's hatred for Optimus brought Unicron back to
Yeah.
life.
Because challenging Unicron means challenging evil itself. Destroying
I'm literally too
destruction
pissed for him to die.
is an impossible
What happens at the
paradox.
end is Galvatron kills himself so that he could end the cycle of hatred, which causes Unicron to like implode on himself. And then the final shot of the episode and the whole show is revealing Unicron behind a moon.
The life he'll
So
use
Unicron
to
was still
kill us
alive
all.
anyway.
We are culpable in our own
Our worlds
animator
are
in
in
there.
danger.
Unicron's not just some comic book villain. He's all there is and all there will
Hey,
be.
IDW.
He was there at the beginning, and he'll be there at the end. He's a law of physics. He's as inevitable as
That's
your
not
dying
literal, that
breath.
comic
Jesus,
cover.
now you got me scared.
That was
This
neat.
episode of Death Battle is sponsored by Death Battle.
There it is.
It's called Synergy, right, Wiz?
By popular demand, Death Battle the game is finally back and available for
I've been playing a lot of board games with the lads.
Wanted to live out
Uh,
your very own death battle
I don't know if I
with
got
the
any
combat.
interest in this
Of
one.
course
I'm gonna
you
be
do.
honest.
Death Battle the game is a fast-paced head-to-head card and
Aw,
dice
come
game for
on.
players. Well,
Don't be a tsundere. That's Rena's job.
That's true.
the first player to eliminate all
It's
of their
not a
opponent's
tsundere
cards
thing. It's
wins.
just a matter of like I'm not sure how interested I am. I might pick it up. Like if I have the spare
Weapon,
change,
armor, and skill cards, there are tons of
I might
options
pick it
for
up.
character creation.
That's fair.
Oh, and who could forget 50 custom dice?
If you know someone who just
50
can't get enough
dice.
of the
Okay, I might pick it up for the
battles
dice, actually.
between
Genuinely, that might be what
characters,
sways me.
and sometimes it's silliest.
I have-
That is so many dice.
Pre-order your
I had a
copy
box
of
of die,
Death Battle the game this December and ring
like
in
all
the
these
your
little dice, and you know what
favorite
happened?
internet show
It
brought to
vanished. I have no idea where it is. So it would actually be genuinely helpful to have all those die. Then again, I do have to support Rooster Teeth, and I would rather stick my dick in a blender.
Alright, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all possibilities.
That's not Unicron on the side. That's not Unicron. That was not Unicron. That was the Vok digging into Optimus Primal's mind to bring a figure of authority out.
As all things must, your world has come to an end.
How long until there's gonna be edited like give me your phone? Ooh.
All right, now that's it. You're done. Give me your phone.
To consume, so saith Galactus, destroyer of worlds.
Your mother is inadequate.
Thus decrees Unicron, Chaos Bringer.
I like that Unicron voice.
It's fine. It's not as deep as I would have liked. Whoa, that was quick. They're actually moving very fast.
Oh yeah, there it is.
So quick to beg for Oblivion's embrace.
Yeah, I was
Jeez.
hoping one of them would grab the other by the horns and just kick him in the head.
This is a very fast-paced battle. That's surprising to me. I thought it'd be a lot slower and like hefty and weighty. Somehow this still has more weight than Thanos' side though. Did he just do the fucking Chuck Norris like crush a rock into diamonds thing, but with a sun and a black hole?
Yeah. Yo,
The sword.
he studied the blade to get fucked, Galactus.
I am the power
You will die by my hand.
easily felled.
He just Dr. Octagon pushed him.
Yo, his purple.
Unicron.
Wait a minute, but Unicron's soul is green, not purple. Oh, he said the thing. He said transform.
That line almost had like a Mark Hamill-ness to it.
For mercy, behold blackening sky. Against mine chaos, even gods will die.
Okay, fucking Etrigan.
Yeah. So I was reading about Etrigan recently. Apparently he did that just to fuck with people. That's why he started rhyming.
Yeah, I know, it's great.
Completely a hobby.
Bring destruction to it all.
And destruction, pure finality.
But the fight looks
Pretty.
really nice. I am a bit surprised by how like fast they're moving though. They're moving like anime characters. It's weird to me.
I mean, I suppose like relative to their side and how their size and how they perceive time, it probably like I guess would be either faster or no movement at all.
You know not the power which you command.
Of course I do. Your death I thus demand. Finally, I have won.
Or have you?
Bringer of chaos.
You can't ultimate nullify Galactus.
He's just done a Vsauce Michael.
Galactus now feed.
What, did he start rhyming too?
We know
No
Galactus and
shit.
Unicron were beings who could manipulate reality
No
itself.
fucking
You're
shit,
basically
Galactus
Older
won.
than the universe, unbound by time, they had each other matched in a lot of ways.
So it ultimately came down to which of them was more powerful.
Both could threaten an entire infinite multiverse, but Unicron could only do so over time, devouring them one by one.
While Galactus' battle with the Scryer and the other threatened to destroy the entire Marvel multiverse.
On
as
that,
just a
on
side
that
effect.
claim.
Not to mention, Galactus tussles with cosmic beings like himself.
It's like Unicron's
all
bigger than
time.
the
While
infinite
Unicron is
multiverse,
usually
so
the top dog
no,
in
he doesn't need
Transformers,
to do
he's
it
a
over
big
time.
fish in
but-
a relatively small pond, relative to Marvel at least.
That might
Relative
sound
to Marvel,
better for
yes.
Unicron at first, but it means he has way less experience than Galactus in full-on fights against dudes his size.
That's
And while
absolutely
Unicron
true,
has
yeah.
used dark energon
That's
to
absolutely
infect and
just
corrupt other
objectively
beings
right.
in the past, Galactus technically doesn't have a soul thanks to his cosmic rebirth from Galen. And he's fended off mental attacks before, so there's no real reason to think that would work here.
And as lame as it is, the ultimate nullifier is just really, really overpowered.
Despite Unicron being able to survive the destruction of his spark, the ultimate nullifier is significantly more thorough. Consider the time it was used against Abraxas, a being that embodied the abstract concept of the multiverse's destruction.
Sounds like somebody you know? Even against someone like that, the good old Ollie Nully had no problem erasing him from reality. And the same would happen to Unicron, while Galactus could always hide in that pocket dimension, just as he escaped the nullifier before.
Unicron was an insanely terrifying threat, but Galactus had the power, experience, and arsenal to ultimately annihilate him.
If you thought Galactus was going down in this fight,
You could have said to
were doing it
ultimately
wrong.
nullify him.
The winner is Galactus.
They should have used Galactussel to reference not Death Battle. I would have been so happy.
Season 10's done, but Season 11 is on the way. Thanks so much for watching, and a special thanks to our channel members for being champions this year. Get ready for more Death Battle in 2024.
Arts.
There was something that flashed at the end there.
This episode
No,
of
we're not
Death
watching
Battle's-
Goku Superman.
There seemed to be a few things.
Yeah, but there was something in particular that flashed up at the end
This
there.
episode is
Are we
sponsored
gonna?
by BetterHelp and
Death Battle?
Yeah, fine. Okay, we can go.
Run that one back.
If you
Yeah, shut up, Boomstick.
the winner.
Season 10's
Your
done,
mother is
but
so
begins
fat
this
you were
year.
born with diabetes, Boomstick. We got cards.
Aw,
We got me.
the fool.
We got
Death.
me at the end of everything. And we have the
The
things
world.
that me's living on. They're not upside down. We got... Well, that's just...
Yeah, there's Tom. Yeah, Tom Wiley. Makes sense.
Requires GPU.
Yeah?
What an interesting thing to pause on. I'll probably look more into this when I do my own review. I don't want to go through fucking frame by frame for this shit.
That was a pretty decent episode, I'd say.
That was alright. That was alright.
I liked the animation a lot. I think it was very nice looking. I think the voices of both sounded as cool as they needed to sound.
I liked Galactus's voice. Unicron's was like a bit high pitched for me. It had less of like that.
Again, I think it had kind of like a Mark Hamill tone to it.
It didn't sound like the deep booming Unicron voice that you normally get. It was more like, I am Unicron and you suck.
Yeah. It sounded like Sinistar almost.
I'm trying to think of like a Transformers
Which,
comparison for what it sounded like. It sounded like a... Who sounds like that? Okay, let me think. This is gonna take a while to rack my brain through. There's a lot of voices in Transformers.
I can imagine.
Nothing's coming to my head. I don't want to say Starscream. It's not quite that far into the high pitch. I don't know. I just generally don't like the... I'm not a huge fan of when Unicron's voice just kind of sounds like a guy. Which is kind of what this one did.
I get that.
Because like I'm used to the G1 Unicron, where he's got a very deep, booming voice. And Armada Unicron has a very sort of sultry, almost kind of voice to him. And then Prime Unicron, voiced by John Noble. I think it was Orson Welles in G1, Mark Ackerson in Armada, who also voiced T-Rex in My Little Pony, interestingly enough. And I think it's John Noble in Prime, who just sounds like this. He's very dramatic. And it's just sort of weird. Don't know who voices him in Rise of the Beast.
Obviously, length does not denote the quality of an episode, but I think it's interesting that the two on screen right now,
yeah, they're both longer.
Featuring Megatron and Silver Surfer, as related to Unicron and Galactus, are both longer than this one.
Well, I mean, Megatron is not that related to Unicron. It's not that close. They're not that close.
Same series,
They're
more
same
so.
series, but like
sometimes he's related. There's that one time he turned him into Purple Megatron.
yeah, but like people overblow the Galvatron thing. Galvatron is not one of the more notable heralds of Unicron. I would think Herald of Unicron. My mind immediately goes to Ramjet, maybe Shockeract. But that's because I love Rampage's design, and I love that. I would love to get that mold, especially the Shockeract version. I think Antagony...
Part of it just has to do with people, like, people's knowledge being only, like, mainstream stuff.
People
like
have no
Transformers
knowledge on Unicron. Like, none. Like, this waiting period was hell, because there was so much of just, like, asking questions that are super surface level, the equivalent of asking if Goku has God Key sort of questions. Like, that kind of surface level. Or even just asking whether Goku has more forms above Super Saiyan level of surface level. Like, that's how surface level a lot of the questions that I had to answer for people were. And, like, that's fine if it weren't then the same people asking the same questions, like, 30 minutes later. Like, okay, maybe my answer was
I can imagine that being annoying, but that circumstance just sounds a little funny.
Oh, it's very funny retroactively. Retroactively, it's hilarious. But also the frame that it's decided to preview for me is hilarious too. It's Chibi Galactus and not Unicron. So that's really amusing. But I don't know.
Yeah,
like
you said that most of them that were showing up in that little montage just were not Unicron.
No, just that one. The others were Unicron. That one though is not Unicron. That is these extra-dimensional aliens called the Vok, whose origins are very fucky and kind of just change depending on continuity, despite the fact that they're supposed to be above continuity. That is them probing the mind of Optimus Primal for a figure of great significance and, like, authority, and they land on Unicron. Which fits, because, yeah.
Continuity is a funny thing, especially in multimedia franchises like this. Like, for example, I've been looking at Etrigan as though he would be portrayed with all of, like, mainline DC in one continuity. And I'm like, Death Battle tackling Superman that way I think is interesting. And it's funny because New 52 Etrigan, Post-Crisis Etrigan, and Pre-Crisis Etrigan all have completely different origins. They are not the same. Where it's like Pre-Crisis, Etrigan was a demon that, like, Merlin just had as a subordinate. And then he's like, you gotta save Camelot. He's like, I don't think I'm up to it, boss. He's like, alright, then I'll turn you into a human guy, and then you'll help people later, I guess.
You know what, that's actually super in character for Merlin. Like, I don't know about DC Merlin, but for, like, Arthuriana Merlin, he fucking would do that. And he wouldn't be the first guy to own a demon in the matter of Britain. There's other demons owned by people. I would absolutely believe that that Merlin would own a demon.
Morgan Le Fay was attacking, and then Etrigan wasn't up to snuff, and so he gave him human form and wiped his memories, and then later, Jason Blood, his human form, finds out he's Etrigan, and then he's like, okay, well, I can turn into a demon to save people. But then tapping more into his demon powers also makes him start to act like a bit of a dick, and he's like, oh man, I'm turning evil. Post-Crisis Etrigan, which I believe's I don't know if it starts with the 1987 run or the 1993 run of Etrigan.
I hope 1987.
Or of the demon, rather. 1987, I don't think delves too much into his backstory. I think it's mostly just him dealing with a cult.
Yeah, but like that's the funny.
But year. The Alan Grant story, which goes more into, well, it doesn't go that much into his backstory until Garth Ennis takes over, like halfway through. But
him.
Anyway, Etrigan was born to Belial, who, as of, I think, that point in continuity, because I think it got retconned, is now the son of Trigon, and therefore Raven is Etrigan's aunt, which is strange.
A little.
But Etrigan was born and was so uncontrollably just chaotic and fucking feral that one of the first things he did was brand Lucifer Morningstar's ass. And then Lucifer was like, all right, Belial, I'll give you a decision. Find a way to rein your child in and make him start behaving, or I'll kill him. And Belial's like, well, you know, I may be a demon, but I guess I'll try to control my son. At some point, when Etrigan was growing up as an adolescent, he casted a genjutsu on his dad to make him fuck a goat and have a goat-demon hybrid child named Scapegoat. And Belial was like, wow, this is awful. I hate that you've made me do this, so I'm going to weaponize your own brother, Scapegoat, against you. But unfortunately, Scapegoat really likes Etrigan and seeks his approval. And then he left for a couple decades and found a witch or a sorceress and was like, all right, fuck it. Third time's the charm. And so he had Merlin specifically to be a magic, like a sorcerer strong enough to contain Etrigan. And eventually, Merlin takes one of his knights, Jason Blood, and is like, listen, buddy, my brother, the heir to the throne of hell and just the worst guy ever, he's been a little rowdy lately. I'm going to tie him to your soul for an eternity, and it's going to be your problem to deal with him whenever he starts acting out of line. And Jason Blood's like, I mean, I guess as your knight, I'll do that, but that sounds like it's going to suck. And Merlin's like, yup, bye.
Yeah, you know what? That is also pretty in character for Merlin.
And then in New 52, Etrigan was born as like this weak little fucking crybaby demon. Well, he doesn't cry all that much, but he like whines a lot, and he's very scrawny and puny. And fucking, I think it's Lucifer. It's whatever like demon he's working under as a knight. It's constantly picking on him and bullying him. And then eventually he gets so mad about it that he incites a revolution or something like that. Forms his group with the Demon Knights, and eventually I think teams up with a couple other guys, like names within the dark arts side of DC. And they're like, wow, this guy's freakishly strong. We probably shouldn't have bullied him all those years. And he's like, now I will have my revenge. But then he just goes out like being like a noble guy, I guess. And Jason Blood, as I recall, I don't remember that much about Demon Knights because I didn't read that much of it. But I remember him being just like way too edgy.
Yeah, I mean,
But you got everything from Etrigan just being a loyal servant of Merlin to the worst, to just some guy that got picked on enough that he's like, fuck it, I'm a jock now.
You do like to complain about New 52 Etrigan.
He's so ugly! Demon Knights is such a fucking lame story.
I just don't like the chainmail. I just think that doesn't fit. It just looks dumb.
I don't think the armor of the chainmail fits. I think like the very stoic interpretation of Etrigan, or like very serious, kind of takes away from some of the fun of specifically his 90s interpretation from Grant and Ennis.
It is New 52. It is New 52. So
yeah.
Like, it does the New 52 thing. They did it to Lobo. They kind of did it to Superman. I think they did it to Shazam, too, even. Everyone's got to be so serious in New 52. The grim, dark future of New 52.
In Pre-Crisis, Etrigan usually was just kind of like, I'm a demon, but I help people because Merlin told me to, and because the human side of me is making me be nice, I guess. And then come the 80s and 90s, he's like, wow, this guy's the fucking worst, and if it weren't for the threat of, Jason Blood putting him back in his cage whenever he transforms, he would just let loose and murder everyone, and he does a couple times. And then they just had to go and make him lame, because it's like, if he's not either a fucking jovial, limerick-spitting just asshole, or I guess just a cool demon guy, like, just don't make him angsty. Don't make Etrigan angsty. It's not fun. But then, at post-Flashpoint, got rid of some of the new 52 stuff. The same way that Lobo was angsty and dumb, and then they brought regular Lobo back. They did the same thing for Etrigan with Hela's Earth, which is pretty fun.
They fixed him. And Etrigan, that's all serious. Like, I think that perfectly fits the, like, view of him that people have based on, like, his image. But, like, I think with Etrigan is, like, he's kind of a subversion of that concept. Like, he looks like he'd be a very serious character, but he's kind of not. He's kind of a dork, I'm gonna be honest. Kind of a dork.
Yeah, I was reading Who's Who in the DC universe to try and get an idea of just, like, how DC would try to sell you on the character. And they noted at the very end of his description and he recently picked up rhyming, and speaks this way much to the annoyance of others around him and his audience. It was something to that effect. I'm like, oh, okay, so he's not doing this just because he finds it fun. He's doing this explicitly to fuck with people.
I can get behind that. I'm just thinking, like, is to the annoyance of the audience. Do they not know that his fans love the rhyming thing?
I assume the reason that he started talking in rhymes was because they were like, people, the whole tagline of, like, fucking burn away flesh and fire, it's fucking boingus boingus boggy mire or some shit, and then gone form of man. That whole limerick just became very synonymous with his character. And fun fact, Jack Kirby did not want to create Etrigan. DC was like, hey, horror comics are pretty big right now. You should make a horror character. Jack Kirby's like, I like making superheroes. That's dumb. And then he's like, all right, I'll make a superhero that's a demon set in Camelot and make him kind of horror adjacent, but not really. And then he expected that to just be one and done. And then he's like, all right, fuck off, do whatever. But the first issue was received so well that they ordered, I think, 11 or 12 more issues in that run. And then I think Kirby was on the 87 series. I could be wrong. But I think it's really funny that dude just did not want to fucking make Etrigan at all, but people liked it too much. Like, this is a character he was actively like, I can't believe him. It's the same as, like, Michelangelo painting, the Sistine Chapel, and he's like, God, I fucking hate this. I'm a sculptor. I hate painting, and now it's just one of, like, the most well-regarded and famous paintings ever made.
That's a solid Michelangelo moment.
Where it's like, it's just such a funny visual of someone making artistic history with just like, ugh, this is so boring.
I hate it!
Anyway, Galactus versus Unicron.
Yeah, it was alright.
I think for the most part it seemed like you didn't have, like, too much issue with their research. Like, a couple things here and there weren't...
the research, mainly problem...
weren't...
Like, I understand, like, why they wouldn't use the Tree of Life, because it is very obscure Transformers media, but the Tree of Life is, like, I would have loved to see that, because while it wouldn't have balanced out the cosmologies, it would at least make Transformers cosmology look a little more impressive relative to Marvel, with the whole thing of, like, Unicron is, like, 9 layers above the infinite multiverse and all its dimensions, to a point where, from the first layer, which is the multiverse, to the second layer, the multiverse is about as real to the second layer as your reflection in a mirror is to you. Like, if they had... I would have loved to see them bring that up to really get across the sheer scope of what Unicron is. But instead, it's like, oh, he can only destroy the multiverse over time. And it's like, not really? And also, destroying infinity over time is like, you still kind of got to do it all at once when push comes to shove. You can't just, like, keep taking chunks off until eventually you're done. That's my big problem. It's not a huge deal. It's not a huge deal. I wish they'd name dropped Anglemois. Not only because I like the name better than Dark Energon, but also like Vector Prime's like claim that they're synonymous is a bit weird because Dark Energon never demonstrates in official media anything as impressive as Unicron's like other fluids.
Yeah, Unicron's piss is infinitely more powerful.
It does literally bleed out of him in the movie. Like I think they retconned the green energy in the movie that comes out of him to being Anglemois. So if he did piss, he would probably piss wish juice.
Gross, but effective, I suppose.
Basically, like whatever you want to happen, if you have Anglemois, it does happen. It's really funny.
Why it specifically brought to mind, forgive the sudden swerve, but how apparently Hitler was very into the occult, and he sent multiple squadrons out looking for like mystical artifacts in hopes that they would sway his chances of victory during World War II.
Yeah, I know. There was some really weird.
And it sounds like something he'd do, like go find the mystical vial of giant piss.
Okay, when you talk about him that way, you make him seem less like one of the most evil people to have ever existed, and more like some dorky cartoon evil scamp villain, like fucking Skeletor.
No, like I'm not trying to downplay what Hitler did, but dude was also just kind of stupid.
Alright, my Third Reich, I would like us to find the evil god piss to destroy He-Man! That's the vision of him that you've put in my head now. It's really funny.
I'm going back to Snake Mountain.
I wonder if that's what he's like in Marvel.
Does Marvel have Hitler?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I guess they make. Why wouldn't they have? Yeah, of course they do. I don't. That was a weird, but yeah,
like comic cover of Captain America socking Adenoid Twinkle out.
Yeah, he was like kind of the reason Captain America got as big as he did.
It's kind of also like in universe he's responsible for Cap and thus the Avengers and also Red Skull and Hydra, all that shit. He also exists in Transformers. I'm pretty sure that there is a link directly from the villains of World War II and Cobra.
Like, I ask if Hitler exists as if Magneto's backstory isn't directly surviving the events of World War II.
Look at Magneto, is literally a thing! Which is ironic, because he would then go on to become a massive racist who wants to ethnically cleanse the non-mutants. Whoops. I guess shit happens. That's a solid shit happens moment.
Fucking, it was so funny. I was playing Guilty Gear, I think Double X with my friend. And Robokai, we were playing his story, and Crow was like, You defeated the target and knocked them unconscious. I needed them back and alive and well. And Robokai's like, that shit happens.
Robokai is like that.
He's just such a fucking weirdo. He's such a whack ass. I love him.
I will never accept Robokai versus Bizarro because it runs on the logic that Robokai is this goofball. He's actually like a super serious threat. When really he's kind of just a complete, like, fucking weird rando. He's not like some super powerful weirdo like a Bill Cipher or anything.
Yeah, he's just bizarre. Everyone, like, he is weirdly horny on main. He is incredibly either like casual or outright rude to his boss all the time. He'll be like, yeah, okay, fucking Dr. Mistake, Dr. Failure, Dr. Fuck you, shithead. Leave me alone. And he's like, I built you to complete this task. He's like, oh yeah, that's fair. All right.
Good point. I agree. You did do that.
He's like, yeah, that's fair enough. Like, he goes from amicable to just absolutely roasting the shit out of Crow for no reason in like a second. It's so funny.
I love Robokai.
But yeah, Bizarro would fucking mince Robokai.
Yeah, it's like, especially with where they put Superman, like, this season. Like, if there's any fucking character they're gonna scale directly to Superman, like, Bizarro's one of them. At least he'll downscale enough that it won't matter where Robokai gets.
Yeah.
Robokai doesn't even scale to, like, the highest shit in Guilty Gear.
No,
Like,
I mean, he's decently strong, but he's not like... He's not Soul Bad Guy strong.
I'm pretty sure there's in one of the stories, there's like a whole group of Robokais that get their ass kicked. Like, at the same time.
Yeah.
So, like, he is not one of the top tiers despite being weird characters. He's just a weirdo. That's the end of the story.
To describe most of Guilty Gear's cast was just a bunch of whack asses.
Yeah, but that's like half the fun of Guilty Gear, is that everything's just... It's either a reference to heavy metal, or it's completely off the wall insane, or it's just both.
Yeah.
There's no in-between beyond, like, a fusion.
I like the explanation that Daisuke Ishiwatari gave for changing Testament to being non-binary, was because they were like, much like myself, Testament is sort of an embodiment of death and has transcended the concept of genders.
Oh my god.
And I'm like,
they're man thing. Testament is man thing.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Do you have any predictions here and now? Because I doubt we're ever gonna go a season without it. We've gone a few seasons with less, but I doubt we're ever gonna go a season without it. What are your predictions for the Marvel DC episodes next year?
I don't want to say Black Manta versus Killmonger just because there's a new Aquaman movie coming out, but like there's a part of me that wants to say that, but I'm hoping not. And I don't think they're tone deaf enough to do a matchup between a street tier and a herald. Unless they haven't, I've forgotten. I guess they did Iron Man versus Batman, but they at least gave Batman like his high shit.
Yeah.
I know Black Cat.
I'm sure they have at some point.
Black Cat Catwoman is one of like the popular normie picks.
Would you count Flash Quicksilver as street tier herald?
No. I don't think Quicksilver's a herald, but he's definitely above street tier. He's like planetary.
Oh, okay.
Like he's definitely getting washed, but I don't think he's like straight up street tier, nor is he straight up herald. Let me look up upcoming Marvel DC like works. I'd be all for Swamp Thing Man thing happening.
I could see that happening. I think that one would be cool just so people can actually like learn about the characters. I think Swamp Thing and Man Thing are both pretty cool.
Oh fuck, there's gonna be a whole waiting period of asking like, oh, but which Swamp Thing and Man Thing are they gonna use? And it's gonna be, they're gonna use the fucking main ones. They're gonna use the main ones. What the fuck do you think they're gonna use? I look up upcoming superhero movies. The first thing that comes up for 2024 is Hanuman. Is Hanuman a superhero? He's a god, isn't he?
I think so.
Oh wow, the list of 2024 upcoming movies is so barren for superheroes. There's apparently Hanuman, Madame Web, who's not getting on Death Battle, Deadpool 3, which they could do Wolverine versus Bigby. That is technically Marvel DC. I would be okay with that, but I don't know.
Technically.
They could do another Deadpool matchup, but unless they have the balls to do Deadpool Batman, just knowing that everyone will be pissed off, I don't know what they'll do for Deadpool. There's the Kraven movie.
I'm really banking on since people have pointed out next season is going to come around during the United States presidential election. Some people are thinking, oh well, it's going to be Valentine versus Armstrong, and I posit that that matchup's stupid and dumb. And not only did they show interest in, but I had a lot of fun watching Uncle Sam versus Captain Britain.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. That one's weird because like you can't really analyze who'd win in a fight because it literally just depends on what country they're in. Because if they're on neutral ground, then like they will not have access to any of their power. And unless there's like a universe exists where the United States and Britain are fused, there's really no way for them to both have their full power in a fight against each other.
So have you ever heard of an event in history called the American Revolutionary War?
Yeah, well, I don't know if you could just go back in time for the sake of this fight.
Uncle Sam probably could.
Yeah, but then he would be going back in time to make his opponent stronger than he currently is. And if there's one thing America doesn't do, it's play fair. Let alone Britain!
Yeah.
Let alone Britain here!
Fair point. Fair point.
They gotta take the advantage where they can get it.
Debate weird, maybe, but I think just the way they talked about it, it would be fun to see them talk about it more. I want to see someone animate that fight. It sounds like really fucking stupid.
They are basically absolute nothing characters in terms of their popularity, so I'd be all for that. But I think they're gonna do the lame-ass one that you don't like and that I don't care about. And you're gonna spend a whole fortnight on Discord going, this matchup is ass though.
You're gonna have to be a little more specific than that. That's like half my involvement in this community.
Okay, well, like Armstrong versus Valentine, you're gonna be spending the whole waiting period.
Oh, okay.
This matchup is ass, and maybe the most positive. They'll be like, "Is there anything positive?" And you'll be like, "I guess I'm interested in seeing how they cover JoJo's again." And that will be like the most positive you'll be able to get.
Like, the only thing that would really be of worth there is a show, I guess, tackling parts 7 and 8, and I guess to an extent 9 scaling, since technically it is a different universe than the rest of JoJo's.
I knew it.
But like, Armstrong can't fucking see D4C. He does not have a counter to getting Menger sponged. He like. If Love Train is active, which by the end of the story, if they're using them at their best, it would be, then he can't hit him. He can't do anything to him. And it's like, with, obviously there's something to be said for just because two people fight differently doesn't mean the matchup is bad. I think contrasting fighting styles can be interesting. But when one dude's whole strategy is not getting hit long enough to just hacks you to death, and the other is literally just muscles with, like, metal coating... it's not that interesting.
Yeah. I'm gonna have
also Armstrong's he's not in Rising that much. Like Armstrong does not have a lot of screen time.
No, that's why I think most people put him against most people put him against Valentine, but a lot of people put him against other characters who have similar amounts of screen time, so that the analysis would basically balance out. Like G from Street Fighter has a similar amount of nothing going on.
Yeah, but it's like, at some point, if both characters are nothing, why do I care?
You wouldn't, but I'm pretty sure people would.
That's fair.
It's a mashup that's like steeped in fucking United States politics. That's the concept of the mashup, is that they're presidents, and like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck.
Senator Armstrong is not a president, he's a senator.
Yeah, well, shut the fuck up, Don.
Also, that game takes place in Africa.
So he's not even... Wait, is he not American then? Because I haven't played Rising. I've wanted to for a while, but I cannot find it.
I think he might be American, but that game doesn't take place in America. Or maybe later parts do, but I'm almost certain most of it takes place in Liberia, I think?
Yeah, I have not had a chance to play Rising. I really want to. I've spent a lot of time looking at like EB Games for like physical copies of the game because I like physical media, and I just can't find it. If I can find it at Cashies, that's how I got Infamous. Like
solid game, fun character, not much of anything as a death battle idea. I don't think.
I think the only thing, if you ask someone like ideas for the fight, the only thing I can imagine is like. The whole thing with Raiden beating up Armstrong, like that gif, just doing that. That would probably be the only thing I could imagine people coming up with. That would be amusing.
But I posit to you that a lot of people forget Armstrong loses that exchange.
Yeah, Armstrong does lose that exchange. He does lose that fight. And I do want to point out that he would be very confused because he would not be able to see what's punching him. So he'd just be like, that's weird. That's not really normal. What's happening here? Huh? which would be amusing at least, but. Right, there was more superhero stuff.
Yeah.
There's Kraven the Hunter coming out. Kraven is not. I mean,
Fucking.
does he even have a DC matchup, Kraven? Like his most popular matchup is the Predator. They're not going to bring the Predator back so soon. Not
No,
that
probably not.
they absolutely could, because then they can do an analysis that's actually half decent for it. But
Yeah, if they wanted to actually choose a specific predator against
or
Kraven,
you know,
maybe that'd be
even
neat.
if they were going to cover the species overall, you know, they could do it well. Bring up some of the stuff that's actually important, like the fucking clan system, because that's literally the most fundamental part of Yautja society, even more fundamental than the Code of Honor, because there are clans that bypass the Code of Honor. It is the most important part of Yautja society. I hate that Yautja...
That is a fair point.
I hate that Yautja is the way it's pronounced. Yautja sounds so much better.
Yeah, but if it sounds better, it's wrong. Much like John Constantine,
Like John
which is apparently the
Constantine,
correct way to say it.
He gets pissed off.
Where,
when
like,
you call him
even in the
Constantine.
comics, he gets annoyed about that a lot. He's like, it is Constantine. I'm like, yeah, but that's worse than just Constantine. Constantine sounds cooler.
To be honest, I hope they like make that like fully canon, where people are like, yeah, we call it that because we like the sound of it better, and just to match the whole fact that John is a complete fucking weirdo. He's the only one who thinks Constantine sounds better. Because like John is full on a weirdo. Whoa. And I think that there has been a massive crash in my local internet, and now I cannot do anything. This is a problem.
Awesome.
Okay, internet's back.
Yeah.
As I was saying, Constantine's a weirdo, and so I imagine that he just is the only person who thinks that Constantine sounds better.
Yeah, I was noting that the only continuity I know of in which he calls himself Constantine is the Keanu Reeves movie.
And the comics.
So take that as you will.
What are we talking about? Right. I would be, if they brought the Yautja back, it only, like, Yautja only sounds, like, somewhat okay when I say it really quickly, so you can barely tell I'm saying it. Yautja, as opposed to Yautja, like, really fast, but I guess it would be interesting to bring the John Yautja joke back, but I also know that people are going to start using it, in ways that I don't want. They're not going to get, they have thoroughly proven they do not understand what the joke was behind John Yautja. John Yautja was not synonymous with my criticisms towards the episode. It is a fucking joke that I put too much thought into the fight and made an entire character around this complete nothing predator who acts completely incongruent to a normal predator because that was the joke. It's not, it's not just like problems with the episode, John Yautja. That's not how it works.
Your pleas fall on deaf ears.
My pleas do fall on deaf ears.
Deaf metal community cannot hear a fucking thing.
Because I like the John Yautja joke. I thought it was funny when I did it. I still like the joke in the review itself. I still find John Yautja to be a really funny concept. But why have people got to take it and unfunny it? Like, this is the death battle community, I'm aware. But didn't have to unfunny it so thoroughly.
Now, I posit the idea of a Marvel versus DC matchup to you of Marvel Godzilla versus DC Godzilla.
That's really funny, but like DC Godzilla doesn't have enough right now.
I mean, the first thing DC Godzilla did was fucking one-tap Superman.
Yeah, speaking of Godzilla, one of the upcoming superhero movies listed is Ultraman. And the only matchup for Godzilla I will accept other than Gamera is Ultraman. They're not going to do it because they clearly want to do Godzilla Hulk, and that upsets me on like a spiritual level.
I think the fact that Godzilla Hulk performed the way it did in this tournament is at least a testament enough that it's not the matchup I think everyone is dying to see, and I think it seems like there's a little bit of wiggle room just because, like, I don't know. Maybe this is just me on copium. I do hope they do Godzilla versus Ultraman. But at the same time, the version of the matchup I'm most interested in is analyzing them both specifically with their Showa era content.
That would be probably the most interesting, yeah. Because I think that neither would get
Especially
Universal.
just because that's when the rivalry was the strongest.
Yeah. I don't think either get Universal with Showa, which is good. I think
you say that. I don't buy either of them at Universal, but there are people that argue since there are official statements of certain monsters and whatnot being four-dimensional.
No, fuck the four-dimensional gas. I genuinely thought that people had found an argument for Universal Showa Godzilla, and I was like, okay, exciting, show me. And it's just the 4D gas. It's just the 4D gas. Fuck that. It's not... The gas was not even destroying fucking trees nearby. No.
Yeah, it is very much I think of just taking like statements at face value, and they're like specifically the argument I think they were making is we do see information that would imply that it is fourth dimensional because they seem two-dimensional. And I'm like, what perspective do we get? Excuse me, I don't like, especially in Ultraman 66. I don't recall that. I think I recall the monster that it was in reference to. It might not have been Ultraman 66. It might have been like Taro or Ace, but
I'll be much happier.
yeah, it's just I don't. I think they just used 4D because it sounded like a big term. I don't think they really considered what that would mean because, fucking, I I think one of the funniest Ultraman episodes to me, and one of the ones that is most explicitly denoted to me of why Ultraman absolutely is not a fourth dimensional fighter, is because there's this big ass bug called Antlar, and Ultraman gets his shit rocked, kinda. Like, Antlar kinda kicks his ass. And then, on a statue nearby of Noah, like biblical Noah, who it turns out was an Ultra, so he just looks like Ultraman, he's holding a little blue glowing ball. They take the ball, just throw it at Antlar, and he fucking explodes and dies.
I don't know why, but the feat that I always think of with Ultraman is an episode of, and I wish it was calcable, there's an episode where Ultraman Tiga picks up a witch and then, like, blasts her so hard she becomes an Aurora Borealis just in the middle of Japan. Like, literally, it's the fucking Aurora Borealis at this time of year.
At this time of year, in this part of the country, fucking, that has the same energy as, like, Yoshi fighting Raphael the Raven.
Japan.
Yoshi just knocking Raven into space hard enough that he becomes a constellation. I'm like, what does that mean? How do you... What does that imply?
The Raven, like, explodes so hard that it flies into these pieces that, like, scatter across, like, thousands of light years, and then produce enough energy flying in those directions to form into entire stars. That's what would have to happen.
I think it'd be funny if that's what was happening.
Like, just fucking explode.
But at the same time, I like to imagine it's like a Popeye punch where he just turns you into something else.
Yeah, just turn the Raven into like a bird sausage.
Turn him into a sausage.
Yeah. I've been very outspoken that I don't want Godzilla to come back, but like, Godzilla Ultraman is fine. I got nothing against that matchup. And I said as much before, but from what I gathered, from what people have told me, the team sounds really into Godzilla Hulk, which, please no.
But that's lame though.
Especially because I do think Godzilla wins. I do think Godzilla
'Cause it's
wins.
like-
But the problem with the
I don't think the
Godzilla winning-
debate's terrible or anything, and I
I
think you could make the fight work,
I
but at the
think-
same time, I'd rather Godzilla fight someone relatively his size.
My problem with the debate is that, you know how people, like, were really fucking stupid with the last episode and said it was a composite Superman versus canon Goku, when it was a canon Superman versus composite Goku? Godzilla Hulk is what they thought that was. It is going to be a composite Godzilla against just 616 Hulk. And something about that just don't work for me. It don't pass the vibe check. And you can't... They're not just going to go with a single Godzilla, and they're not going to composite Hulk. It's going to be like with, like, what on screen right now with Frieza Megatron, or even Galactus Unicron. Well, no, not Galactus Unicron, because there is no such thing as a composite Unicron. It's going to be like Frieza Megatron, where it's a canon guy, and then just like a composite. But with Megatron, they only composited, I think, from what I've been told, 2 versions of him. For some, like, very arbitrarily. With Godzilla, they're gonna fucking composite, like, 100 versions of the guy.
Yeah, probably.
I don't like that.
I don't know. For me, the only solace that comes from the fact that I know if they did Godzilla versus Ultraman, it would just be a composite version of every version of, like, Monson, like, specifically original Ultraman, and a composite version of every, like, Godzilla, is that would have to include the Game Boy game Ultraman Ball, where the plot is that Ultraman can now curl up into a ball and bounce around, and it's a platformer, and it's really stupid, but it's pretty fun, and I think that's just a...
Well, now I can bring
It's
up
just
the
a
fact
funny
that Godzilla
visual.
can turn into an egg. Godzilla can turn into an
Hell
egg.
yeah.
So we can have Egg Godzilla versus
Ball versus
Ball
egg,
Ultraman.
let's go!
It's an oval and a circle.
I'm sold. Composite Godzilla versus Composite Ultraman. Get on a death battle.
Get on it. That would be excited for. Also, we have a new Joker movie coming out next year, and I have softened a bit on Joker Goblin. I now no longer dislike it. I just find it kind of mediocre. But you will be very excited if that happens.
I
Goblin will never stop
really
being-
like a Green Goblin.
Goblin will never stop. being
Green
Goblin.
Goblin's one of my favorite comic villains.
I don't think there's anything with
I think,
Green Goblin coming out this next year, but
I don't think so. I think, honestly, obviously you have Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin in No Way Home, but otherwise, like, new interpretations of the Green Goblin, I feel, have been kind of scarce, especially because a lot of the more recent ones in cinema, well, more recent, it's been stuff like Ultimate Goblin showing up in, like, the Ultimate Spider-Man show or Spider-Verse stuff. It's been stuff like Harry Osborn and Green Goblin showing up. We haven't had an honest new interpretation of Norman Green Goblin in a while, and that's my favorite Goblin. I love how much of
we're
just...
actually gonna get one with Spider-Man 3, the game, because Spider-Man 2, they literally ends with Norman going, "Get the G serum ready," and it's like, I wonder what that could be.
Yeah. I fucking love how much of a petty asshole Norman is for no reason. He has no reason to do half the shit he does to Peter. Like, one time, he put fucking hallucinogenics in his toothpaste just to ruin his morning. Just to make it a bad morning.
It was really funny. Green Goblin versus Lex Luthor actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it. It's just kind of,
It does.
kind of a bit, lopsided. In everything other than
Yeah.
Thematically, it's pretty much perfect, but like
one of the most fun, I guess, takeaways from the idea of Joker Goblin as a matchup is that inherently Goblin's arsenal is very similar to Batman's, I'd say, with your bat-shaped boomerangs,
I can see that, yeah.
Your spooky themed explosives and whatnot. I think that's just interesting of, like, it's not exactly Joker versus, like, an evil Batman, but it's like, it's got a kind of a Joker versus Batman dynamic, almost.
Okay, now,
almost.
What would you do if Joker, like, unleashes the Joker Venom, and then we get a shot of Green Goblin, like, huffing it in with the mask and going, "My favorite"?
Yeah, that's where I thought that was going. Honestly, it's possible. Now, Joker Venom's is some incredibly potent shit. We've seen it affect people with, like, a heavy level of toxin tolerance.
Nasty fecal matter, yeah.
Yeah, some real nasty doo-doo particles. But the Green Goblin is not only at this point not immune, but I guess has just adapted to the Goblin Serum, but he's just immune to most like types of chemicals or poisons and stuff like that. Like most gases just don't affect him at all.
I think they would give him the immunity in the episode, like no doubt.
Yeah. That said, a similar level of immunity, I'm almost certain, has been shown in characters that Joker Venom has affected.
Oh yeah, but Harley Jinx exists, so we fucking know that it's just they're gonna just be like, ah, that work on Goblin. Goblins resisted that stuff. You know?
I mean, to be fair, I think Goblin is both fast and strong enough that he would probably kill Joker before he'd be able to get his Joker Venom
got a
off.
big flying vehicle that produces like a lot of wind when he uses it. Like, what's the fuck's a Joker Venom gonna do if he just turns on his main device? Just blows it away.
Yeah, well, okay, so it depends what version of the Goblin Glider, because some of them have big fans that produce a lot of wind. Some of them just have a fucking jet in the back.
Yeah, you know what jets produce a lot of?
Not in front of them.
Yeah, but it'll still make a lot. It'll still make a lot of wind. You know what else Goblin can do? Fly up. Just fly up.
Yeah,
There's
that's
no reason
fair.
to believe that Goblin will have the same plot-induced stupidity that like a lot of other DC characters who can fly have, where they decide to just stand there and take the Joker Venom because they're stupid.
Yeah. I think another fun thing, well, not that fun, but another interesting thing is that it feels to me like Goblin's like standing as Spider-Man's arch nemesis is very understated these days, where it's like nowadays they try to sell it as Dr. Octopus or they try to sell it as Venom, who I think, depending on the era, have an argument. But the Green Goblin has been around so long for Spider-Man and has been so integral, and it's like the same way that no other Batman villain has killed Robin, no other Spider-Man villain killed Gwen Stacy. The death of Gwen Stacy was like a landmark in comic books. You didn't just kill someone's love interest at that time. That didn't happen.
I also think that like one of the things that gets me is that Doc Ock is generally meant to be portrayed as like a very sympathetic character. And I feel like that makes it so it's hard to call him the main villain when a lot of the times he isn't a villain. He's just an antagonist under the control of his tentacles, or he's having a mental breakdown.
Where it's like
Goblin is
with Dr. Octopus, with the Lizard, with Electro, with a lot of them, Spider-Man's goals often line up with trying to help them or being like, you could be a lot better than this. With Norman Osborn, he has always just been a through and through bastard. He is just a piece of shit, like, to the core.
Yeah, like Spider-Man could be like, you can be better than this, and like Sandman will be like, I'm trying, and Norman will be like, yeah, I know. Well, I'm not fucking stupid. I know.
He's like, Peter, you have to understand, I'm one of the smartest businessmen on the planet. My intellect is enough that, like, I can run the Avengers. Who the fuck do you think? I know I can be better than this. I choose not to because it hurts you.
Norman literally leans in right next to Peter's ear and goes, I missed the part where that's my problem, and then leaves.
Yeah. I'm something of a scientist myself.
I imagine
just completely unrelated Goblin quote. Spider-Man's like, you could be better than this. He's like, no, you can't do this to me. Do you have any idea how much I've sacrificed?
They're gonna have like a lot of like Raimi memes in Goblin Joker. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones.
Yeah. There's no way they also don't do it without some Dark Knight quotes in there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Where it's like, it's funny because I think Raimi Goblin, especially as he appears in No Way Home, is a really fun villain, but he's not quite Norman to me, because it's like he is fun in that he's an insane person, not by his own volition, but just how much of a fucking bastard he is in that movie. And then they finally, fix him, and he comes to his senses, and it's like that's all interesting and whatnot. But it's like, even without the Goblin Serum, Norman Osborn in the comics is just a fucking, he's a bastard. He's a real piece of shit. He's just the worst.
Yeah. It just dawned on my mind, the idea of like putting in those pointless references in the fight, and just for the complete non sequitur of a scene is just, you want to know how I got these scars? I'm something of a scientist myself. and just like that's it. That's the interaction. Never brought up again. Never led into. It just happens, and they just get back to fighting. Just like
that would be really funny. But I think that interpretation of the Goblin is fine. Conversely, I'm not a big fan of Heath Ledger as the Joker. I think again he's an effective villain, but he's just not the Joker for me, really. Because it's like, it's not that the Joker isn't a terrorist. He absolutely is. And it's not that the Joker isn't like some fucking whack ass in face paint. But the Joker is so much more than that. And it's like, he does not feel silly enough. He makes a couple of jokes here and there, but he is not silly enough. He's too edgy. He's too bleak.
I can't imagine how you feel about Joaquin Phoenix's Joker then. That's like the most serious version of him I've ever seen.
Yeah, again, I think he's a really good character. I like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker a lot, but he's just not the Joker. I feel like if that whole movie didn't have the Joker name on it, it still would have been just as effective as a movie.
Yeah, I think you could.
I feel like to the point where it's like
as its own movie.
Yeah, I think to the point where this movie would stand completely fine, and the only thing that the name brand does is just make it feel like, well, this is a little bit of a weird interpretation as far as that specific character goes. At that point, I just wouldn't have the character's name on it.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I do understand the brand appeal of the Joker.
It made a lot more money because of the name, let's be honest. If it didn't have that name, probably would be considered like a cult classic or a critically acclaimed film that nobody's watched. Like, you know, when you look at the Oscars and you have this list of movies that everyone's like critically acclaimed as amazing, and you're like, I've not watched any of these fucking films.
Yeah.
It ended up being one of those, I'd imagine. It would also be given more respect by the critics too, I'd wager. Like, it already got a lot. It
makes me think of at the Game Awards recently, Pizza Tower lost to some indie game, and like a lot of people's reactions was like, I've never fucking heard of this game. Who? Why did Pizza Tower lose to this?
That was funny. When I actually looked up the game, I forget its name. I looked up the game. I actually thought the concept was really interesting. I don't remember what it was because it was like something I just kind of did at the dead of night for no reason. But like, I thought the concept.
I don't doubt it's a good game. It was just something I had never fucking heard of.
I actually wrote like a skit of Unicron talking with Galvatron about the Game Awards. I haven't recorded it. I kind of wanna. It would be like a short where it's it's basically just like, Galvatron, I'm really upset that Spider-Man 2 lost. You must go upload clips of cinematics and act as if it is the greatest gameplay ever seen. Yes, my master.
The Game Awards are rigged, Galvatron.
You know what I'll do next, Master Unicron? I will upload the best footage of Spider-Man 2, contrasted with the absolute worst of Baldur's Gate 3 to make the game look as bad as possible in comparison.
I think it'd be really funny if the conversation was something along the lines of fucking,
the Game Awards are rigged, this is bullshit. I need you to go out and fix them.
And Galvatron's like, what the fuck are the Game Awards?
I kind of want to just do a series of...
What are you talking about? Spider-Man? What is a Baldur's Gate?
Just completely... Unicron talking with Galvatron. Like, just like two bros talking. As if it's not literally Entropy itself talking to his mind-controlled slave. Like, I don't know why, it's just such a funny idea to imagine that. like, the new movie comes out and Galvatron's like, my master, would you like to go see the new Sylvester Stallone movie with me? Do I? Let's go!
I think it's bullshit that Spider-Man didn't win. I personally enjoyed Mario Wonder.
Proceed on your way to oblivion. Such a stupid idea, but I love it. If I could do shorts of just fucking Unicron and Galvatron talking like they're not who they are, but still in like completely in character and in the voice, that would be ideal. I want to do that when I have time.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good use of shorts. Is just like taking all these goofy ass skits that otherwise just get slotted into the back end of any given video.
I also wanted to bring 1 Second Punch Out back as like in the form of like shorts. I might if I have time. If I have time to animate a 1 second fight, which I got a thing of matchups.
No, sorry. Could you run that by me again? If you had what?
Time to animate a 1 second fight to turn into a short.
Time, huh?
Yeah. I was talking to Biff about like my favorite characters from new media I experienced this year. And one of them was Artemon from Pokemon Legends Arceus. And I had to like really hold myself back from just going on about the fact that he is the time guy to Biff.
Yeah, he is.
Because I genuinely think his like view on time is a lot more interesting than like almost any other story point in like story element in that game. But it does boil down to the fact that he is a time guy and he loves time. That's his favorite word.
Speaking of, one of the recurring characters in both of the Scarlet and Violet DLCs is actually supposedly a descendant of Adaman. He has the same. She has the same hair. Has a Hisuian Growlithe.
I did read that, and it was funny because like Adaman was like the one character who didn't have any direct notable only like major character in Legends Arceus without any obvious descendant. So if that was actually intentional and it was like foreshadowing, that would be really fucking cool. But if it just turned out it was someone going, oh shit, we forgot to give this guy a descendant, let's throw one in the DLC, that would be lame.
I think if it was planned, that I think there's a pretty good chance it was planned, and I think it's neat. I like Perrin. She's cool.
Yeah, I know nothing about her except that she takes photos. She's Todd.
Yeah, she takes photos and she's like, "Hey kid, you want to go take a picture of a bear?"
I imagine she's Todd Snapper better.
Yeah, something like that.
When I was asking you what games are available, including Virtual Console on the Switch, you completely forgot to mention Pokemon Stadium.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, I saw that Stadium 2, the fucking Game Boy trading card game, and Snap, like the original, were all available.
What irritates me the most about that is that they integrated Pokemon Stadium, and you can play all the mini games or whatever. You can use rental Pokemon. Put Red, Blue, and Yellow on the Switch, you fucking cowards, so we can transfer our Pokemon to it. That's half the fucking point of the game.
And Gold, Silver, Crystal, because they have Stadium too.
Yeah.
Or maybe make it so that you could. No, you couldn't really make it so you can bring Let's Go Pokemon in because they have like moves that don't exist in Stadium. But like,
yeah.
Why don't they have like classic games available on the Switch? I don't get that.
Technically, if you have a 3DS with the Virtual Console versions of Gen 1 or 2 games, you can transfer them to Pokemon Home, and they have a specific mark for it, too. So, if they wanted, I guess they could add Pokemon Home integration with that, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure Gen 1 and 2 Pokemon get fundamentally changed when they get sent to Home.
Well, yeah, because like Gen 1 and 2 are fundamentally different, especially Gen 1. Like, they literally...
yeah.
Otherwise, you would have like a fucking Alakazam with massive special attack and special defense at the same time if it was just exactly the same as Gen 1.
Yeah, no abilities. I remember having someone argue with me once. They're like, no, dual type didn't exist in Gen 1. I'm like, half of the fucking controversies in Gen 1 were over, oh, why is Gyarados a flying type instead of a dragon type? And he's like, nope, Gen 1 doesn't have dual types. And I'm like, I have my Game Boy here. I will pull it up and fucking show you. Do not test me.
Have you heard
I have been dubbed recently by my housemate as John Pokemon. I'm the Pokemon guy.
Does this person think that the only grass type in Gen 1 is Tangela? Because every fucking grass type otherwise is a dual type in that game.
Yeah. Fucking, you got your grass
Psychic.
poisons, your grass bug, your grass psychic.
Yeah, grass bug with Paras and Parasect, yeah. Like, it's just Tangela. It's the only one that's just on its own. And what are there? Are there 2 ground types that aren't also dual typed?
It's Diglett, Dugtrio, Marowak, and Cubone.
Sandshrew and Sandslash. So there's 3.
Oh yeah, Sandshrew and Sandslash.
I
So yeah, 4.
Cubone and Marowak, yeah. So, does this person think that flying type just did not exist until like Gen 2? Because there ain't no solo flying types.
I think it was a long time until we got a Pokemon whose primary type was flying, because it's always like the whichever type I guess is more present in their design is like their primary one, and then they have a secondary type. And it's like, I don't think it was until I don't think they waited until Tornadus to give one flying as its primary type, but I could be wrong.
Well, Tornadus was the first one to be solo flying, and we wouldn't... How many more are there? There's like Corvisquire. That's solo.
Yeah, Corvisquire and Rookidee, and that might be it.
Yeah, let me actually just Google this, because I'm curious what... Because when my mind thinks of, like, primary flying type, I immediately go to Noivern, of all things. That could not have been the first, because that's after Tornados.
Yeah.
Nope. It is Noibat is the first primary flying type outside of Tornados.
Wow.
Noibat, Noivern, Corviknight, Cramorant, Bombard, and Flamigo. This is really sad.
What exactly makes Bombardier more deserving of a primary flying type than Pidgey?
Nothing, but I mean, it is just a stork.
It's a stork that's a bit rude and drops rocks on things.
Bombardier is kind of lame to me. I'm gonna be honest. I find this Pokemon.
Yeah, it is kind of. Bombardier and Flamigo both are just kind of weird birds because it's like Flamigo ties its neck in a knot. That's why the base of its neck looks like that. But at the same time, like,
That's stupid.
it's still kind of just a flamingo.
That's so stupid.
The reason it ties its neck in a knot is supposedly to keep its massive reserve of power stored inside of it. I'm like, what kind of design? Assume you're Arceus, because we know that there is a creator deity in this world. What's the design philosophy of making a creature with a latent power inside of it so strong that it has to tie its neck in a knot to keep it concealed?
I just imagine Arceus like, it's like the dweebiest little like chuckle to himself. Look at that.
Yeah, it's like, what the
Hey, Palkia, come here. Take a
What
look
are
at
you
this.
talking about?
I
You
love
big white equine
I
bitch.
love picturing fucking Arceus just making these lame Pokemon just to get Dialga and Palkia's reactions, and they give nothing to him. He's like, "Oh, fuck you guys! I'm gonna ask you what Giratina thinks of this." Just that's my headcanon.
I just imagine Arceus doing the goofy little laugh with like a PNG of a human hand coming in to point at Bombardier, at fucking Flamigo.
As one of his 1,000 hands is just a random human one.
Yeah, one of his alleged 1,000 hands. Never seen them, but I don't think they exist.
Yeah.
I think he's lying.
Given Arceus's like role in Legends Arceus, the headcanon of him just being like a god who is also a goofy goober who just does the dumbest shit because he finds it entertaining, just kind of fits now. It just kind of fits.
Fucking God isekaiing you into the past to solve a conflict where it's like, I don't know. There's some implications about that because it's like, first of all, is the implication that Arceus is a fixed point in time, or just like omnipresent across time? And if that's because he knows about cell phones, so
the implication is
he
that
can
there's
either
a true
time
form.
travel.
There's a true form of Arceus that we never see.
Yeah, that these are avatars, but at the same time, how do different people capture and utilize Arceus like that then?
Oh, he literally like makes it clear in the game that he just hands you an avatar of himself to use temporarily.
Okay.
Yeah, it does make sense that he would exist non-linearly to time, given the fact that Dialga and Celebi exist.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so Dialga, yes, because Dialga's birth created time. Celebi just kind of is like the time hall monitor.
Imagine like the actual lore is that Dialga was like lonely, so Arceus made him a pet, and it was just Celebi. But then Celebi started just fucking around and like going through time, and Dialga was like, "Hey, get back here! Where the fuck you going?" Mate,
I
come
just
back
imagine
here."
someone time traveling. Celebi stops and was like, "Oh, I can't. Where's your hall pass? Show us your hall pass. Go on then."
Fucking Mr. One-Up Celebi.
I love Mr. One-Ups. That man has rotted my sense of humor.
Like, "Oh, mate, where's your hall pass, eh?" And
Where's
that's
your
the
hall
whole-
pass? Let's have it then.
That's the whole scene. Just his voice as Celebi just saying that, and then you just get booted back in time before you can even respond. I feel like
You ever got your hall pass? Oh, nah, you come with me to the principal's office.
I had like a
It's just like the TARDIS disappearing sound effect of.
I had a stupid Celebi matchup as a joke. What was it? I feel like I sent it to you. Was it Cell?
I I I had a figure. That makes sense because they're both green bugs that do time travel.
Exactly.
Um,
And also they start with
but
SCL.
I had this figure of a Celebi that I got. It was a bootleg figure from a market, and there's a piece of art that I believe it's based off of that I think was also either bootleg art or was like art of someone trying to draw it from memory in like a leak or something like that. But it is like the fucking dumbest looking Celebi I have ever seen. I'll try to find it later and send it to you, but. But, but it looks like a rendition you'd see alongside like the Flatwood monster or like the fucking Hopkinsville Goblin.
But could this Celebi take on Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta without with eyebrows and a scouter?
Ah, there's the joke.
That's the question. That's the toughie, that one.
Fucking did I tell you about fucking Magma Goku versus Green Megatron?
No.
It was in some servers someone posted a matchup. They just posted who would win, and it was like one of those you know when people would take like Budokai or like Raging Blast renders and like shittily edit them and be like, this is my new form. It was like Goku with like a Kainu from One Piece's Magma arm and red hair, and that was Magma Goku. And then some green Cybertronian that I guess might have been a form of Megatron or like Megatron adjacent. He looked like he was from the IDW comics. He was like a big green dude with a cape. And he's like, and that's Green Megatron. And so it's like, okay, so Magma Goku versus Green Megatron, who wins?
So
And that just became an inside joke in the group for a long time.
So I should
Because
take
it's like,
Green Megatron.
it's just such a fucking asinine question because it's like, who would win? What do you mean who? Magma Goku's not fucking real. What do you mean who would win?
This is where I should tell you that the new Primus Vanguard is made up of Gold Megatron and 7 colored Megatrons that he made. Green Megatron, in fact, is responsible for defeating Gold Megatron. When he was possessed by the power of G1 Megatron, who himself was empowered by Unicron's Anglemar energy. So Green Megatron is like one of the strongest Megatrons that exists. And he coexists with Black Megatron, Blue Megatron, Red Megatron, White Megatron, Yellow Megatron, and of course, who can forget, Purple Megatron.
Okay, but I raise you this question. Could he beat Magma Goku?
Yes, he could. Because he does exist. That's why. Because he's real.
It's so Jover, Magma Goku, bros. It's so Jover.
It never even began. Because Green Megatron exists. The iconic Green Megatron. Everyone's favorite version of him. Who, here's the funny thing, he is just a green repaint of a Ratchet toy. Of Ratchet.
So he's not even Megatron.
No, he is Megatron, but his design. So the thing with the Megatrons is that they're all based on like recolors of toys. So like, I'm gonna double check because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be accurate here. Red Megatron is a repaint of the Beast Wars Megatron, which is fitting because it's literally just fucking T-Rex, who is just a red recolor of the Beast Megatron. White Megatron, who ironically is in blackface, is based on the Combat Megatron figure. He has a completely black... I'm going to send you a picture, and you're going to understand why I call him Blackface Megatron, because they did not think this figure through. Oh boy. There was zero thought. No one like processed a single like neuron's electrical impulse in making this thing. It's an awful looking toy. With an awful face.
Let's have... the more... At first I was like, no, this isn't that bad, and then I look at him more, and I'm like, no, that white just sticks out like a sore thumb.
He's got Megatron tamper-graphed on his chest, just in case you forget who it is.
Yeah, as if you couldn't look at him and see that that's Megatron.
Yeah, it's really funny, because the titanium toy of Megatron has a giant M on it. They're like, no, guys, trust me, it is me. Look, Big M. And they're like, yeah, you could be Ronald McDonald for all we know.
It makes me think of a Mega Camerupt, how it has like an M on its forehead, just in case you forgot it was Mega.
Yeah. So Yellow Megatron is, I think, a repurpose of a Bludgeon figure. And this Bludgeon figure is a recolor of a Megatron, of the Hero Megatron mold. Purple Megatron is a recolor of Alternity Megatron, who is like the strongest of them all. And Blue Megatron is just the Rebirth Megatron, or the Rebirth Prime, or Reverse Convoy figure. So they're all recolors of actual Megatron, and Black Megatron is animated Megatron. So they're all recolors of Megatron figures. And then Green Megatron is just like recolor of a Ratchet toy. Huh?
What? If he was going to be the most important one, why is he the one they decided would not be based on Megatron?
Yeah, I don't know if I would call him the most important, but he is one of the notable ones who helps take down... It might have been all of them that did it together, take down, like, superpowered gold Megatron. But the main point is that they're all recolors of Megatron toys, and then there's this one Ratchet toy, which, if I was generous, I would say it was a reference to the Marvel comic, where Megatron and Ratchet fuse into some horrible monster. But I think they were just stupid. Like, why is the one I just sent you white Megatron when he's got so much green on him? There are so many.
Because the white sticks have it.
There are so many white Megatron toys. Why this one with the white head and then all black face?
I think it's more of a case of fucking G1 Megatron being a white Megatron.
Yeah, well they recolored him gold to make gold Megatron.
Oh.
It's weird, but yes, Magma Goku would lose because Magma Goku is not real.
Man.
Is there a green Goku? Because that would be really funny.
Are we still recording?
Okay, you really cut out there.
Oh, hold on. Give me just a second.
Well, last time I gave you a span of time, you were like, "Oh, he's gone." The last time I gave him a span of time, he was like, "Give me a mid," and I was like, "It's been 30 of those."
Yeah. Sorry, I'm a known liar. I've been training to match Biff Weed in a lion.
With Biff, yeah.
But yeah, are we still recording?
Yes, we're still recording. This is going completely off topic.
Awesome. I mean, as it should. If things didn't go off topic, something might be awry.
So I beat Gita last night.
Yeah. No surprise there.
I didn't sweep because of an overheat miss. That's what.
Did you see that? Part of the update for the DLC. I don't know if it's coming with specifically the purchase of DLC or if it's just an update now. But they're going to be rechanging. After you beat Gita, they set up a tournament where you can rebattle a bunch of other trainers, and they're changing some of their teams around, including Gita's.
Wow, is the team going to become good?
Hold on, I have it somewhere.
I think it'd be really
I think.
fucking funny if what they change is they turn Veluza into like a Sea King. That'd be really amusing to me. That's the change they made.
So she does have a pseudo legendary on her team. Take a guess which one it is.
Gudra.
Nope.
Okay. I nearly said Noivern again. He's not a pseudo. Komowo.
No, you're getting a little farther away. You'd think it would be Arctibax, and maybe she'd get rid of the fucking Avalug in exchange for the thing, but no, Avalug stayed.
Actually, I would have thought Baxcalibur.
Okay. Yeah, Baxcalibur, my bad.
Metagross.
But like, a fucking Avalug absolutely needed to stay. No, it's not Metagross. I'll go ahead and tell you it's Dragapult.
Why?
And it's like, we had a champion with that legendary last gen.
Yeah. I guess she can't have Baxcalibur.
If you're gonna steal Leon's bit of being all talk, don't copy his team too.
Because Hassel has Baxcalibur.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be the first time an Elite Four and a champion have shared a Pokemon, I don't think.
Let me think. Gen 1... Oh, wait, yeah. Lance has a Gyarados, and so does Blue. So, yeah. Straight up Gen 1.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I'm
Blue
almost
doesn't-
certain it's
Blue isn't
happened other
guaranteed.
times before.
Blue isn't guaranteed to have a Gyarados.
Like,
Blue has a Gyarados.
I think Drosna might have a Gudra, and I know Diantha does.
No, I think she doesn't. I'm pretty sure one of the things people joke about with Drowsy is she does not have a Gudra. There's got
Oh, what the fuck would her team be then?
Let me look it up. She might have a
Dragalge,
if there's a
I suppose.
if there's a rematch, then she might have a Gudra in that. She's probably got a Noivern.
No, they don't have rematch teams. They stay the same 4 Pokemon no matter how many times you fight them.
Oh, brilliant! X and Y is so good. She has Dragalge, fuck you, Druddigan, Noivern, and Altaria.
Yeah, fucking.
Altaria. Just go fucking Altaria. Why? That's her team. Druddigan, Dragalge, Noivern, Altaria.
You are cutting out really bad.
She has
Nope, okay, you're
Dragalge,
back.
Druddigan, Noivern, Altaria. What a team.
I mean, Altaria, like, did Altaria have a Mega at the time? I believe in the gen they introduced Megas. The Elite Four should have had Megas.
Yeah, the way they have terastallizing in Scarlet Violet. This does not have a Mega. I don't know if
No,
it has a
yeah,
Mega
you're
then.
cutting out again.
It does not have a Mega in X and Y.
Yeah.
Let me actually check whether Altaria Knight was introduced in XY or... No, it was introduced in Oras, so she couldn't have one.
Okay. I couldn't remember if it was ORAS or not. But, like, if Karina, who's, like, what, the 3rd or 4th gym, has a Mega Lucario, why don't the Elite Four? Why don't they even have 5 Pokemon?
Yeah, why do they have 4?
Yeah, but it's like, and it meant not even specifically Altaria. I'm sure that, like you could have gave her, did Mega Salamence exist yet?
Mega Salamence didn't, but Mega Charizard.
If not, then Mega
Mega
Ampharos existed.
Mega Latios and Latios.
And Mega
apparently
Ampharos
are
is based.
X and Y. And if you wanted to make her look bad, Mega Garchomp. So she did have plenty of options. They wouldn't have given her a Latios or a Latios, but Garchomp, Ampharos, and Charizard existed.
Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you fine, motherfucker. Okay, let me try this.
Okay, well, that was a pretty delayed response.
Let's see if that worked. Did that fix
Are we
it?
back?
Did that fix it?
I think so, yeah, seems to.
So yeah, she had Ampharos, Charizard, and Garchomp as options.
Yeah, I think Ampharos would have been a really inspired choice, just because Ampharos not being Dragon type and then becoming a Dragon type is really fun.
Yeah, you can say the same for Charizard.
Yeah.
But I guess because there's a good chance you could have a Charizard at that point, so that's why they probably wouldn't give her one. But
And then, let me think.
Knowing X and Y, they would have given her a Garchomp if they had thought.
Who would the goated Seabold be running?
What's his type?
Water. He has a Gyarados, a Starmie, a Clawitzer, and a
Gyarados.
Barbaracle, I think?
He has a Gyarados. I wonder what fucking Mega he'd run.
Well, that's the thing is that, like, first of all, if you're fixing these teams, give them 5 Pokemon. Why do they have 4?
Well, then his only other option is Blastoise. For a Mega.
Okay, then Gyarados makes
I think
sense.
just
And
give him
then
Mega Gyarados, give him something else.
Vikstrom is Steel type, so I guess Scizor makes sense.
Yeah, Sizzle's your only option because Metagross. Oh, or Aggron.
Yeah.
Actually, Aggron would be kind of cool.
I think Vikstrom having Scizor makes sense.
So the Aggron would be cool because he loses the rock type.
Oh,
to
yeah.
Steel.
No, Aggron I think actually works better.
How many actually Gen 6 Pokemon
Aggron
have
becoming
Megas?
pure Steel, I think
Hold on,
absolutely
do
lends
any
itself
Gen
well to
6
that.
Pokemon have Megas?
Any Gen 6? Diancie?
Yeah, and she didn't get one until Oras. That's really fucking funny.
Otherwise, then no.
That's really funny. What's the last member of the Elite Four?
Yeah.
I haven't really played X and Y.
Let me think. Malva, she's fire type.
Okay, well, geez, she's got options. Charizard, Houndoom, Blaziken. Those are options. So probably a Houndoom.
I think, given the fact that she's an ex-Team Flare member and it's thus associated with the evil villain team, Mega Houndoom makes the most sense.
Yeah, Mega Houndoom would go hard. With his stupid fucking, like, chest spikes going on.
Let me leave and rejoin and see if that fixes things on my end. Hold on. Say something.
Something. Oh, okay. I think we might have to just cut this short if the internet's not going well today. Cut this short. My ass, this is short.
Yeah, I was gonna say. No, you're fine now. I think you're fixed.
What? You think I'm fixed? What do you think? What is the champion?
Well,
Does the
sorry.
champion
I
have a mega?
think I'm fixed. My bad.
Does the champion have a mega?
Yeah, Gardevoir.
Wow. Could she take Gita in a fight? Who would win if they had a fight?
Diantha would kick Gita's ass. It would not be close.
That's really fucking sad.
The one
Right,
thing I
sure.
will say about Gita's new team is that she finally put Glamora first and King Gambit last.
Wow. Wow.
Crazy, right? And then I think the other changes are she loses the Veluza and Go-Goat, and then replaces them with Dragapult and Chestnut.
Wow, okay. How many actually, like, Gen 9 Pokemon is she gonna use, though? Because it sounds to me like you've just told me that she's got less Gen 9 Pokemon now.
Glamora on her original team, Veluza and Espathra, and then King Gambit on both. So between her teams, I think she has 4, and then she has Go-Goat, Avalugg, Chestnut for Gen 6, Dragapult for Gen 8. Am I forgetting something?
Oh my god, I just took a look at Hassel's, like...
I think that's
Hassel's
16.
second
I might
team.
be silly.
He just threw a Dragonite on his team. Like, is that all he did?
I think that might be it, yeah. I think the switch from Go-Goat to Chestnut is neat. I think Chestnut's kind of cool, but at the same time, I don't see why they keep sticking with Kalos, because this gen is more tied to Unova than Kalos through the DLC. But also, I don't understand why they just, again, didn't switch Avalugg out for Baxcalibur, and instead decided to switch out Veluza for Dragapult.
Yeah, why get rid of Veluza? Like, unless you were gonna replace it with, like, I don't know, like a Palafin or a
Her
Dodongo.
Pokemon's moves are also better.
Yeah, well, that's not hard. Okay, so we're definitely cutting out too much at this point. I think it's just going to become a cavalcade of technical difficulties, so let's just cut this here.
Yeah, fair enough.
Alright, bye everyone. This is not going to happen again unless Destroyer Iris happens, and if it does, I'm going to do that idea of doing my own ad read in the middle of death battles, because it makes me chuckle.
Can we do it if Devilman Etrigan happens?
Yeah, why not? Or Ronald Burger
Awesome.
King before you ask.
Alright, so it's never happening again.
Exactly, yeah. So, bye everyone, have a good one.
See ya.